This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so we have discussed about the what is the cloud computing and the cloud providers, the deployment model. We have public, private, hybrid, and the community, right? The types of cloud computing, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. We talked about the Gmail. It's like one of the best software as a service solution Google is providing. And then we talk, it's like what is the AWS, what are the certification we can go for the AWS, and virtualization, what type of hypervisor, a type of software AWS is currently using, and the reasons why we should choose AWS or any cloud provider, right? Now, before starting, our first step is to create the AWS account, create and configure that, right? This is a free, this would be a free tier account, and you will get, I believe, 700 or 750 hours or 1 year, okay, to do your stuff like you're practicing anything, you are creating services on it, right? There are some services which are paid. It's like you will not get that in free if you are using free tier account. So you should check like which service is free, which service you're gonna charge, and there would be if there would be some minimal charges, you can go ahead to create that. But if there are huge charge, I would recommend you not to create that, just to understand that, and whenever you would require to create, you can create. Why? Because there are some services which have you know one time charge. So suppose you are going to purchase a domain from the Route 53 or the DNS of the AWS, like it will charge you $12, about $12 per year. So once you create that, you will purchase the domain, you have to give $12. Then if you are using it or not using it, it doesn't matter. So, and also, before you know creating anything, you should understand like why you create, and after doing your practice, just delete it, right? Because you are, if you are practicing in your personal account, then it is not a production one, right? Nothing is going to happen, your application is not running or something like this. But if you are running your application, or you're doing practicing or something like this, if you want to, then please, you can go ahead with that. We will also check like how you can check your bills, how you can understand like what would be the charges of that particular service. So for creating the account, you should go to the aws.amazon.com. So you will get this type of interface. In this, you can click on sign in to the console. If you have the account already created with you, then you can sign in with it. Like this, I have already created my account. This is my email, this password, I can sign in. Or you can click on sign in with different account. When you click here, you will get a tab like create a new account. When you click on it, you will get a page to create an AWS account. AWS account include 12 months of free tier access. It is also telling you is like what are the services which are free, okay, and you can visit this website to know what are the services which are free, what are the services if you create you're gonna charge for that, right? So you can go ahead and you can also check like what are the services free, what are the services which are not free, right? Always free or something like this. How much storage you're gonna get free, the database of 750 hours if you're creating DynamoDB, SageMaker, Lambda. So you will get all the information from this. You give your email ID, you give your password, you confirm the password. You can give a AWS account name. So it is a customized one. You can give a name here. When you go to continue, okay, there you have to fill your details like your organization, your home billing address, something like this. You have to enter your payment information with a valid credit or debit card, right? And you will get a identification verification from the Amazon, and it will call you from an IVR, right? To understand like this is not a robot or something like this. Yes, it is basically a verification from the Amazon. Regarding the credit card on the debit card, I believe when I have created the account, like they uh, deduct some $1 or $2 from your account just to verify that it is a valid one. So it is also a verification. And then you can support your business plan, but the business plan depend upon your requirement. So we will discuss like what are the business plans. If you are doing your practice, then your business plan or the support plan would be basic, because the enterprises organizations which are running production systems, they have different business or the support plan with them. So we will discuss like what are the business or the support plan we have with the AWS. Okay, so once you create the AWS account, you need to understand what are the regions, what are the availability zones in the AWS, so that you can start working on it, right? So I would recommend you to please create AWS account, because until unless you create it, you won't able to do practice, and it is a type of facility AWS is giving you to log in, checking, creating services, deleting services, understanding everything. And believe me, the AWS console you are seeing for yourself once you log in, right? It is the same for the production or the development environment as well. It is not different. So if I log into my console, you get same type of console in your production environment as well. Nothing is different. So you will get an opportunity to understand your environment through your own console. And people, what many people do is like when they are going to create any new service in their account, to test anything on a production, I also do is like I first do testing in my own personal account. If our organization doesn't have any testing account with us, although many big organization have their testing account as well. If you are going to deploy anything on a production, you can first test on a test servers or test account, right? So let's understand the AWS regions and availability zones, right? So AWS region are the geographical area. Like if I create it, so it would be like this. This is a type of geographical area. What does it mean? If I take an example, this is Virginia, or I can say North Virginia, I think. Okay, so it is a region. Also, this this a geographical area, Sydney, also a region, right? So the geographical area are regions of AWS. Where we get all these things here. When we click this drop down, you will get all these regions available with AWS. Sydney, Singapore, Mumbai, Hong Kong, Cape Town, lots of. So you can create the account, sorry, you can choose the region as per your location. I'm in India, so my nearby data center or the region for the AWS is Mumbai, Asia Pacific. If you are in US East or West, you can choose any of the region as per your uh, as per your location. So how these are important, like it also depend upon the organization or the users, accessibility. You know, if we have a client who is from the Australia and the most of the users are on in Australia, then definitely he is going to create the services on us in Sydney. If our users are mostly from the Japan and the organization is also based there, then they will create their you know services in Tokyo. So it happens like this. There are many organizations, or it happens like they have the global reach of the users. So they create multiple regions services, right? They also create services and US. They can create service in Asia Pacific, Europe, anywhere they want. So it's depend like what type of business the customer or the client is doing or the company is doing. So based on the business, based on the users accessibility and reachability, they create the account as per their region. Okay, so these are regions. These are the examples I have taken: North Virginia and Sydney. So this is a big geographical area, right? Sydney is a big city. It is a big one. Now we have some data centers inside this Sydney. For example, we have 3 data centers of Amazon inside the Sydney regions. So these data centers are called availability zones. So what are the availability zones? Availability zones are nothing. These are data centers inside a region. So these are like, if I check what are the availability zones in Sydney region, I can go to the Sydney. You can click on Sydney Asia Pacific. You will go to the EC2 dashboard. You click on EC2 dashboard, and when you go a little bit down, you will see the service health. It is showing like Asia Pacific Sydney region is there. Its status is service services are operating normally. Means this region doesn't have any issue. Now how many zones it has? It has 1, 2, and 3. three zones. Means the Sydney region have three data centers with it. It has three availability zone with it. So these are the zones. If we denote Asia Pacific or the Sydney as AP-Southeast 2, right? This is the type of nomenclature we use for Sydney. We will not use the word Sydney anywhere. We will use AP-Southeast-2 for denoting the Sydney region, right? So for denoting the regions, we use 2A, 2B, 2C like this. So if Sydney is AP-Southeast-2, then their availability zones would be 2A, 2B, and 2C like this, right? Same happen with other regions as well. If it's North Virginia, it would have three regions. Sorry, it would have three availability zones, or two availability zones, or four availability zones, right? We can check how many availability zones or our data centers have in any region, right? We can click on that particular region and be able to know that how many regions, so how many availability zones or data centers that particular region have. Okay, yeah, there are lots of five five data centers in North Virginia. We can check like this. If there would be any issue, then there would be a status like this is running with some problems or some issues. So it may happen like you have launched your server in this availability zone, and that availability zone is showing some issue. You can check from here, like, is Amazon aware about that? Amazon is working about that, right? So it will show you here. So these are, you can see, like, these are the data centers. So North Virginia have five data centers. So if we do not denote the North Virginia like US-East 1, then this would be 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, right? Something. So like this, you can check these things. See, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, 1F. Now we understand like what type of connectivity between the regions and availability zones. Like, okay, so the connectivity between the regions is through the public network. Okay, if one region wants to connect to another one, then there would be a public line, public internet connectivity. This is the public one. If within a region one data center wants to connect to other data center, then there would be a private link, or we can say a private network is there. So this one is private. Okay, so we understand like region is a separate geographical area, completely independent, isolated from other regions, and help achieve the greatest possible fault tolerant and stability. Of course, the distance between the region would be huge. There would be long distance between the regions. And if you want to check like what are the availability zones and geographical regions for the AWS, you can go to this particular site and you can check from there. When you need to check these things, you may uh, get a request from your client or users, like they want service in this particular region. So do we have any facility from Amazon, or do we have any data center from Amazon to get that, so you can check from here whether you have this data center or not. So it is denoting all these regions. What are the regions here, right? Across the globe, you can, it give you a very good visual for you to understand like what are the regions here, right? What are the availability zones? You click here, you will get the availability zones. We talked about the government cloud of Amazon. So this is showing GOV cloud. So this is a private cloud provided by Amazon, which we discussed yesterday. We were not discussed. We just get a information like this is the government cloud and it is a private cloud provided by AWS, right? Because we this is a private one, so we will not get this here. You cannot see GOV cloud here because this is a private cloud for the US government and we are using a public cloud. Amazon is a public cloud, for the public ones, for the people who are not for any particular or secured organization. We are not getting private cloud for us or for our organization. So by this you can check what are the regions you have for the AWS. But I would recommend you just click here and you will get what are the you know regions you have. This is the best way to check. Then inside the region you can check what are the availability zones or the data centers. So Amazon have about 65 plus availability zones and 20 plus regions across the globe. Communication between the region is across the public internet. We talked. Each region has multiple availability zones. So availability zones have what? These are the data centers. You know that Amazon have 3 data centers in Sydney, but you won't be able to know the location of these data centers because of the security reasons. Amazon won't tell you the location of this. Each AZ or the availability zone, right? We call availability zone as AZ. Is physically isolated, geographically separated from each other, and designed as an independent failure zone, right? This is important. The distance between all these data centers and the availability zone is so huge or a so long distance so that if anything happens to this data center, it won't affect this one. For example, if there would be flood, if there would be earthquake in this availability zone, it won't affect this because these availability zones are for the redundancy or the fault tolerance. What you can do once you install your application, you can install the application in 2A and in 2B. If you install in 2 availability zones, then if anything happens to one availability zone and this will go down due to any reason, your application will still running from the other availability zones. So it's the type of DR or we can say disaster recovery for you, right? So it won't affect your application. If anything happens to a particular data center of Amazon, it won't affect your application. Your application would be still running. But definitely, if you are launching your application in 2 different data centers, you are going to pay more. It depends upon the application. User or the application team comes to you and they can ask like, they want to deploy in 2 different availability zones, or you can ask to them whether they want to deploy the server in 2 availability zones or in 1 availability zones. What are the criticality of their application? Because if they are going to have the facility or the feature of redundancy or fault tolerance and installing their application in two different availability zones, then there would be charge, and they are who going to be pay for that. Application team or business team are going to pay for that. So they have to understand, if they are installing their application in two different data centers or the availability zone, they have to pay more. And if their application is not business critical or something like this, they can go for one availability zone only. If anything happens in particular availability zone, they can, you know, their application can stop working or something like this. But they can understand, like they can have the downtime for that. They can bear the cost or they bear the consequences of that. So it depends upon the application and the business requirement, like how many data centers or the availability zone they want to use for their service or the application. We talk like AZs are connected with private link, not public internet, right? So in a region, the data centers of AWS, or we call them AZ or availability zones, they are connected with private link. So the bandwidth is very huge between these. You know, there is very low latency among the data centers of a particular region, right? If we have data center in a region, then their bandwidth would be more. You will get fast access. So that's the region. If you want to transfer anything from one availability zone to another availability zone, it would be fast. But if you want to transfer something between the region, right, from Sydney to North Virginia, then it would be some latency because it will go via public internet. So we understand this thing. Any issue regarding region, to understand region or the availability zone, please let me know. I can explain again with some different examples, or we are good. Am I audible, guys?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thank you. So our takeaway from this slide is only like regions are the geographical area, availability zones are data center of Amazon. Those data centers are connected with a private link. Regions are connected with public link, right? So this is the only takeaway we can take from this slide. Next one is AWS pricing. It is very important to know the price of AWS. Why? Because people are moving to the cloud because of the price. Price is one of the important factor apart from flexibility, apart from the performance. One of the important factor in AWS. When you people will start working on AWS, then you understand the criticality of pricing. What business doesn't know about technical things. Business know about only money. They can ask you to save money for me. They will say, like, what you can save for me, how you can save for me, what you suggest so that I would get more savings. Because they have a type of mindset that if we are moving to the cloud, we are saving more money. So, and it's not wrong, right? Because whenever they come to us, why we should go to the cloud, we give them a factor like you would save cost. So their expectation is to save money. They want to save more and more. It is a it is a responsibility of a AWS architect to suggest cost saving to the client or the customer, the business. So knowing AWS pricing is very important, and I will also tell you like how we can save cost, how what we can suggest to our client. See, suggestion is with us. We can suggest anything to cloud, see, to the client. But if they are applying that or they are agreeing on it, it's depend upon them. Our responsibility is to suggest them what are the cost saving with the organization, with the cloud, what they can opt for, how they can switch services so that they can save cost. It depends upon us. If they are applying it, they are approving it, it depends upon them. So there are three major, I can say, drivers or the main things which are for the cost, like compute, storage, data transfer. When you are using more servers, more compute, more resources, definitely you would be getting more charge for that. If you are using more storage, you would be charged more for that. If you're transferring data more per month or per day, transferring data means in and out, you're transferring to storage, you are getting data from storage to your machine, something like this, then you would be charged for that. But it depends upon service to service. If you are transferring data from your EBS, or we can say a disk, to your server, you won't get charged. But if you are transferring your data from your server to storage bucket, you would be charged for that. So we will discuss about that gradually. These two links are very important. When you start working in your environment, then you would need these links, right? These links are important. So previously there was a link called S3 calculator. So this was the previous link which we used to check the cost of any service. And this calculator or this pricing thing is also important, because before doing before installing anything, before doing anything for business or customer may ask for the pricing. They can ask like, how would I be charged, what would be the cost of that particular thing, right? So this is also important. How we can use it, I'm gonna give you an example. For example, you are going to create Amazon EC2 are servers on cloud. You click here, you just uncheck this one, because if your customer is not new, then there would be no free tier for him, right? So you can uncheck this. You can choose your region, in which region you want to install the server. For example, I'm going to install in North Virginia, because cost depends upon the region as well. It may happen that in North Virginia you would be cost less, and in Sydney you would cost more, right? So it's also depend upon the region as well. You just click the region, click here. You can give any name here, description, it is not mandatory one. You can click how many servers you need, instance, right? Suppose I need one instance, it would be 100% utilized. I would be using it 100%. It doesn't matter, right? You just click the type here. This type is already selected. I can click here and select a different type. Suppose I'm going to have the operating system as a Windows. Guys, this is visible, or I can increase the font. Is it good now or better?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So OS would be, suppose my OS would be Windows, or any requirement from the client, right? Suppose they want to get Windows or SQL, anything. So I'm taking example of Windows and the type. So we would discuss about this naming convention, but for the for for the sake of this costing only, we can understand like how many CPU or memory client needs. Suppose client want a Windows servers of 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM, right? Click here. Sorry, this is grayed out, means this Windows doesn't comes with this configuration. So I can click here and close and save, right? So you will get your estimation of monthly bill. This would be your monthly bill for a Windows servers of this configuration. You can tell to your customer or client like you would be charged $140.55 per month for that. So you can give this estimation to your client. So you can check the cost of any of this service you want.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, what does EC2 stand for?
Yeah, EC2 is Elastic Cloud Compute. We will discuss about this, but I'm just, just understand like this is a servers. This is a server only, right? This is a type of machine. If client want you to install a machine on AWS, then you can tell him by this like what would be the cost,
All right, thank you.
right? So there are many services of AWS like this, right? You can check cost of any of the service you want or the client wants from you, right? So I have taken the example only. So this was the previous, or I can say our old link. Now we have a new link for that which we called calculator.aws, and it looks something like this. AWS pricing calculator, create estimate. You click here. Same. You will get all these services here, right? It's just a type of interface changed. So maybe going forward or after some time, AWS will, stop that particular previous link as 3 calculator. So you should, aware about this link as well. So any like we check EC2, so you can click EC2 here, EC2 servers, right? Amazon EC2, click on configure. Now you can select a region from here, like we checked North Virginia, so you can check for where in North Virginia. Okay, changing region service 300. Okay, change region, because I checked something. It's saying like when you change the region, the cost estimation would be different. I understand that. Okay, what type of operating system you want? Suppose I need Windows, click on Windows server. How many virtual CPU you need? Virtual CPU, GPU, ECU. We talked what are these, the memory you need, but we don't worry about these stuff more because we mainly deal with virtual CPUs and memory, right? So it is giving like for this requirement, if we have requirement of 4 virtual CPU and 16 GB RAM, we would get this instance type. This is the name of instance, right? We would get for that. It will also tell you like what is the hourly cost of that. $0.224 per hour would be charged for that. If you have one, right, it would be giving you some advance or the configuration, but we can check this later. You will understand these things when we move forward. So it is showing you like 122 about $122 you monthly charge for the server, and it is also showing you a charge for EBS. So EBS is disk or the storage attached to the server. So they will charge $3 monthly for the storage as well. It depends upon the amount. Here it is 30 GB. If I will increase it to 100 GB, then charge would be changed. If I need 20 GB, charge would be different, right? So as per your requirement, you can select, you can choose, and you will get the pricing for that. You can tell this price to your business, like this would be the price. They can discuss their among themselves or something. They can check their budget or something, right? And then they can ask you to configure or create the EC2. So it happens like this. So why budgeting, or sorry, why costing is required? Because business wants to know the cost of everything they are running. Yeah. Any questions?
No.
Yeah, thanks. Next one is AWS support plan. We have 4 type of support plan: basic, developer, business, and enterprise. How we can check what type of support plan we have? Then we can go to the our console and we can click okay, and we can click here in support center. This is also very important, right? What are the things we are getting from here? My AWS account number, my support plan name. I have support plan of basic. If I want to create any case to the AWS, I can create from here. I can click on create case, and my case, it is related to, my issue is related to billing, service limit, or technical support. I can click anything, right, as per my requirement. Maybe I need some clarification or I have some issue with my billing. I can click here. I want to increase the service limit. What is the service limit? There are limits in AWS account for the resources. For example, you have 20 servers running at a time. This is the limit. If you want to increase that, you can open a case with AWS. Which limit you want to increase? What is the current limit and you want to increase to what? For example, if I take like any example, just for Alexa, anything, right? It's just taking the example, right? So I want to increase the limit of what, and what would be the new limit? Suppose I have limit of 20, I want to get it to 30. I can mention 30. I can contact via web or phone, and I can click submit. When you click submit, there would be a ticket or a case open for the AWS. Then they will take care of that. They will increase the limit as per your requirement, if there is a possibility. And if they don't, if they can't increase it, or if there is any issue, they can communicate with you with your email ID, the email ID you have given to them. And what are other things here? My support plan is basic, but how many type of support plan we have? Developer, business, enterprise. We are using this account for our personal use, right? That's why we have basic plan. If you want to change it, you can click here and you will get like what are other business, sorry, support plan: developer, business, and enterprise. Organization which are running production servers, they go for business or enterprise plan. Features are more with different business plans. Like, if you have basic plan, you have less features, right? See, only these three things are included. If you have developer plan, then these features would be there. If you have business plan, these features would be there. And if you have enterprise plan, then these all features you would get. So what are the features, right? The features are related to your technical support, your training, your pricing. Because if you get your business support plan as an enterprise plan, then you have to charge you have to pay them 15,000 per month. It would be starting from there, right? So you can choose as per your business requirement. They can give you the support of your technical, or your, if anything happens to your service, like your server is down, you're not making it up, you are not getting that, then you will get the SLA for that. SLA is service level agreement. They will give you the time for making your service up. They give you estimate time. If your business critical system is down, in less than 15 minutes they make it up. Production system down, less than 1 hour, 4 hour, 12 hour, 24 hours. So these are the SLAs, or these are the, I can say, time decided by them to the customer, because if we are using their service, we are customer. So this type of support you will get from AWS when you're using enterprise. When your business plan, you will get this support, right? So you can check in business plan, you are not getting the SLA or timeline for business critical systems. So if you have business critical system, you will go for the enterprise plan. If you don't have that, you can go for business plan, right? If you are running only production systems, then you can go for business plan. If you don't have any production system, you are running your AWS only for developing something, or it is related to developers only, then you can go for developer plan. We are using basic plan because none of these we are using, right? We are not developing anything, we are not using anything. Our console is not business critical, we are not running any application like this, so we can go for the basic plan. But if you want, you can change from here. Once you change the plan, you will get charged for that, right? Like starting from this. So these are for the production systems, or the development systems, not for the personal use. Don't go for any of these for your personal use, right? What else we get from here? Account number is important, because every account have unique account number. You should be aware, like, what is the account number for your account. It may require in some of the services to enter your account number. We will check what are these. When you click under your name and click on my account, you will get all the information related to your account, right? So we'll see. This is the information. This is my account ID, my name. I have given the name, account name, my password, my name, my full address, right? You can give the contact for your billing team or billing person. Suppose your financial team is different, the finance team is paying bill, so you can give their contact number here. Your operation team is different, you can give their contact number here. Your security team is different, you can give that contact number here, right? But for us, we are billing, we are operation, we are security, so these fields are not filled for me, right? So you can also check these things. When you go a little bit down, you can see that there are regions mentioned, right? What are the regions enabled for you? These regions are default. But if you have some requirement to create your services in any of these 4 regions which are disabled, you can enable it. But these are, you may require these in your production system, not in practicing, so don't go for it, right? If you are working for US government and you want to create the account in US AWS Gov Cloud, then you can click from here and you can get into it. If you want to close your account, you want to suspend your account, you can click here by checking these things and you can click to close your account. So this all information we can get from our account name and by clicking on my account. Any issue, any questions, please let me know. Right, so the console is very user friendly. You won't face any issue in accessing the console. You just to remember like what are the options there and which option should be where, right?
I have
So
a question for you. Sorry.
yeah, please.
So what I'm wondering, based on what you have shown so far, is, are we getting tickets assigned as part of our job to work on what you're showing right now? Like kind of like, like what needs to be done on daily basis, like as far as our job role goes.
Yeah, so your job role will consist depend upon your role. Is like if you are AWS administrator, like system administrators, right? So you would be getting ticket for that. You will be getting ticket from the users or ticket from the AWS console, like this service is down, this service is not working properly, something like this. You can configure alarm for that from the console and you can get ticket for that. We will check how you can do. And also you can get ticket from the users, like they want you to create machine, they want you to create user, or they want to create any service, something like this. So it depends upon your the model of your organization. If you are a architect, AWS architect, right, then you may get ticket or you may get request in any form of you know service management tool, maybe service now, something like this. So you may get mails as well, right? But it depends on your role. If your role is of AWS architect, you get request related to creating anything. You may get request for any issue. But if you are getting ticket or mails, it depend upon the organization model, if they are using any service, a service management tool or incident management tool for you or not. But if you are architect, if you are AWS architect, then you should be capable of creating anything and capable of doing troubleshooting for those services. If you are a AWS administrator, the expectation from you to resolve the issues, not to create any new service. Because creating a new service is responsibility of AWS architect. Uh, is it good, or did I give
Oh, that explains
answer
it.
your question?
Thank you. Oh, that's good. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So could you, by any chance, give an example of any potential customers? Like, accordingly, would the basic developer and business and enterprise.
Customer for you want name of customer?
I just want any example.
Example of what? Example of customer using AWS?
Yes.
Yeah, there are many. There are many. Where you just click on the Google and you can get like what are the AWS customers. Right. Netflix, Switch, LinkedIn, Facebook. These are the top 10 users of AWS, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So AWS is not new to the market. It is launched in 2004. When I think I haven't heard about the cloud at that time, frankly speaking. Like I was not aware about the technologies at that time in 2004. It is fully launched in 2006. In 2004 it came up with only 3 or 4 services. In 2000 and after that it come up with many other services. Now it is a leading cloud provider in the market with Azure and Google. So Google is providing its cloud as GCP, and then Microsoft is also in a cloud business as with a name of Azure. So these are also leading cloud companies, right? Or I can say cloud providers in the market. So for the AWS, the best example is Amazon.com. We do shopping, right? We do shopping time to time. So Amazon.com is also on a cloud. Definitely, if AWS is providing cloud for other customers, then they would be using for their own services as well, right? So Netflix, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, all are, it's not like if Facebook is using AWS, then Facebook is not using Azure. Why? Because if in a company they want to go for different clouds as well, it may happen that in your organization you have Azure cloud as well, you have Google cloud, you may have AWS as well, right? So one company can opt for other many different clouds as well, because as per their requirement. What could be their requirement? For example, AWS is giving them a service which is costly. They may take this service from Azure, which is cheaper than AWS, so they can go to Azure. Maybe GCP is providing or Google Cloud is providing them a service which is more cheaper than Azure, they can go to the GCP or the Google, right? So it depends upon the business, because business always want to save money. They want to opt for things which are cheaper and good for them or best for them. If they want to you know get some downtime, if they can bear some downtime, they can bear some discrepancy in their application is not business critical, something like this, they can compromise with the quality, they can go for cost. If their business is very much critical for them, right, if they have business critical application, they won't compromise with the cost, right? So it depends upon the business requirement from the you know organization or the customer may comes to you. If for example you are the administrator and you know both, Google, AWS, okay, and you have both cloud with your organization, then customer comes to you and ask like, okay, can you please suggest me which cloud I should use for this particular service, which would be beneficial for me. Then you can give them what are the advantages and disadvantages of that particular cloud, what are the advantages in AWS, what are the advantages on Google. So then after that they can check like in which cloud they want to move. in which cloud they want to go, because creating a account is not getting charged, but using the services will get charged. If developers are comfortable and the architects are comfortable for creating anything on a different cloud, business can go, because business wants to bother about the application software and the cost. They don't want to bother about the technical terms or the technical things, because it is the responsibility of architect, it is the responsibility of it, cloud administrator. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that's it for now. If anybody have any question, then please let me know. Anything related to the previous topics as well, I can explain.
I have a
Yeah.
question, sir.
Yes.
How can we access the lectures after class?
Sorry.
How can we access the lectures after class? Since it's a recording, how can we access that after class?
How you can access the YouTube link or the slides, right?
Yeah, check the YouTube
Okay.
link, but there were no videos uploaded.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah, AJ.
I'll step in on that. So yes, so I have uploaded a link on the Google Drive that everyone has access to. Also, YouTube videos have been uploaded, and the slide deck also is uploaded to the page. If you can't access that, if you try after this meeting, can't access that, just text me, and I'll guide you through the steps to get access to it.
Yeah, the link wasn't working. The one where you sent the video, it didn't